It is my pleasure to be with you here on this Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. And last week we talked a little bit about contemplation, and this is all within the umbrella of opening ourselves to God. And it requires a little bit of time, requires patience, but it often requires us to take a hard look at ourselves. And this week we are going to talk about a discipline, a spiritual discipline that maybe not everybody has heard of before. Examen, or known as the examination of consciousness. And it's the practice of discerning the voice and activity of God within the flow of the day. It is a vehicle that creates a deeper awareness of God-given desires in one's life. To notice both God and my God-given desires throughout the day. Colossians 1:9. For this reason, since the day we heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you and asking God to fill you with the knowledge of His will through all spiritual wisdom and understanding. And from Philippians 1:9 and 10, and this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best. You may be pure and blameless until the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God. You know, for somebody like myself, who is an optimist, who is oftentimes trying to focus on the silver linings, on the glass half full, on the underdog story coming to fruition, it can be hard to look at the negative. It can be hard to look at those bad spots of the day. We can maybe tend to ignore them. And the opposite is true for other people, for people that are pessimists, for people that think the worst of any situation, who always see it a glass half empty, who always see the bad. And it is important that we examine our lives day to day and really focus on where the Lord is working. And it can really be boiled down to a two-question system. Regular time of coming into the presence of God to ask two questions. And here's a few possible ways to maybe ask those questions. For what moment today am I most grateful? For what moment today am I least grateful? When did I give and receive the most love today? When did I give and receive the least love today? What was the most life-giving part of my day? What was the most life-thwarting part of my day? When today did I have the deepest sense of connection with God, others, and myself? When today did I have the least sense of connection? Where was I aware of living out of the fruit of the Spirit? Where was there an absence of the fruit of the Spirit? And where did I experience desolation? Where did I find consolation? It's a I don't know if you've ever done like a highs and lows type introduction in a group or things like that. But an important aspect of our spiritual journey is to examine our highs and lows, our mountaintops and our valleys. Because here's the thing, God is the same God on the mountaintop, and He's the same God in the valley. And this past year, and I know I've referenced it quite a bit, but this past year we've had a real opportunity to instill spiritual disciplines like Examen in our lives. And last week we talked about really seeking the Lord, contemplating, the Lord's will in our life, and contemplating what it is, the Spirit's really working in your life. And this is more talking about the aspect of seeing where the Lord is at work, and seeing where maybe we are spiritually dry, and seeing different aspects. Examen is a wonderful tool, a wonderful discipline for discerning the places you feel most alive, where you maybe feel most grateful, most present to the fruit of the Spirit, but also times where you do not. And if you're somebody that feels like they have a strong faith, but they reach these times of spiritual dryness, or they're wandering through a spiritual desert, or they feel like God has pulled Himself away, Examen is a powerful way to really look at our own life in Christ, our own life in serving God, our own life in being obedient to God's will, and finding those aspects where we can improve, and finding those aspects where we can really cut out a lot of that negative. And for me, a few years ago, as I was really examining my life and examining the moments that brought me joy, examining the moments that didn't bring me joy, and Christ is such a huge aspect of my joy nowadays. And one of the things that I've always loved is sports, especially football. But I realized sports was such a huge aspect of my life that it would oftentimes bring me more pain, more sorrow, more anger than it was really worth. And not that I've never watched another football game, but once I was able to see that through a process like Examen, I was able to position myself, I was able to really see what was important. And I can still enjoy a game of football, but now, because of my relationship with Christ, and because I take that time to examine, when am I closest to God? When am I feeling farthest away? And it's helped put me in positions where I don't have to face that anger. I don't have to face that disappointment of just being a sports fan. And that's just such a small aspect, but it was straight proof to me that a discipline like Examen is important in our lives. It's important to understand how the Lord is working in our life and kind of the consequences of our choices and our actions throughout the day. So I pray that you will spend time this week and examine, at looking where the Lord is working in your life and finding those high points and learning to grow in those and finding the low points and finding ways to diminish that and being truthful with ourselves, because we don't hide anything from God. There's no point in lying or trying to lie to God, because He knows what's on our hearts. Don't lie to yourself. I know it's hard. I know we all have probably things that we don't like to tell people. But part of spiritual growth, part of living a holy life, a life of holiness, is being truthful with who we are and where we are in our relationship with God, and striving to better that. And examine is an important aspect of that. So I'd encourage you this week, at least once a day, 5 minutes, and you probably do it before you go to bed, but examine your day. See the highs, see the lows, and recognize what God has been doing. If you're having trouble with that, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to first just pray for you and with you and help you through this. But I think it's important in this day and age to just take a moment and examine our lives in Christ. I hope you have a pleasant day, and this will be my last video as somebody in his 20s. My birthday is in a couple days, and I officially turned 30. I'm an old man now, I guess. I'm not sure, but I just want to say what a joy it's been to have been at Longview First most of my life, but a member for a little over 6 years now, and to be on staff for a little over 4. And this church family at Longview First is amazing, and it's been my utter privilege to be with you, and I look forward to many more great moments with you. And I just want to remember David Case, a man whose legacy will live on, and how he served and how he loved, and his example. And a big congratulations to Mark and Letty on Liam being born, and Kimberly and Jonathan for Dalton being born. Got 2 new boys in the church. A lot of boys in the church. But it is a privilege to see new life flow. And so be praying for them as families who already have a child and now have newborns. Pray for them and their and the grandparents and all the aunts and uncles that will be helping out as well. But part of life is death, but part of life is birth as well. And so it has been truly a joy to serve in a church where we get to celebrate amazing people of God like David Case, and we get to celebrate new life coming in, and there is no place I'd rather be. Y'all have a great day, and I pray that you will spend some time with the Lord today and examine His presence in your life. You have a blessed day.